There's usually many sides to a story, and today on the Deep Dive Show, we will be looking at the many sides of the story of Chidinma Ojukwu, a 21-year-old university student of Lagos who allegedly murdered a Super TV CEO, Mr. Micheal Usifo Ataga. Joining me on the show today are two very important guests who you will get to meet after this. I'm Tracy Dominic. Keep watching. All right, welcome back, guys. So, yeah, this story has generated so many public interests. So tell me, let me start with you, Ma'am Vanessa. What do you think about the story? What's your reaction? And how do you think parenting has affected the behavior of Chidinma?
Well, as regards the story, as it were, as a professional, I'm not allowed to make comments on the situation surrounding the story because we don't have enough facts to begin to make any form of conclusions on the matter. We'll leave that to the court of law. However, there are bits and pieces of issues that we can talk about, which is the parenting that you've brought up. Okay. You want to ask yourself the kind of home Chidinma was raised in. What are the factors that are responsible for her choices? Because we all largely are a reflection of our choices, especially our experiences, especially our childhood experiences. What kind of childhood experience does Chidinma have? What is her propelling force? What is behind her motivation, or what is gingering her, like some people would say, to say, okay, I want to do this? How involved are her parents in this decision? What do they know about her? You know, is going to university. So, you know, I saw a bit of the story that said she wanted to do this because she needed to pay her fees and all. Is university education as necessary as we have made it look? Because some people are going out of their way, doing all manner of things just to be able to answer graduates. At the end of the day, some of them, more than half of them, don't make use of those certificates. So there are a lot of things to talk about, but it begs for a lot of questions, really. What kind of home is Chidinma coming from? And I'm not in a hurry to put blames on the parent, because there are cases where parents have given their best. And a child doesn't still turn out well. You want to troubleshoot to find out what is the problem. This child may be a troubled child, and the trouble may not have been as a result of lack of parenting. There may have been some neglect here and there. Did she go through an abuse? What are the kind of friends she has? What kind of environment is she in? Is she living in a ghetto where parents are doing, you know, you train at home, the society and the environment helps you to retrain? What is she exposed to? What kind of friends does she keep in school? You know, all of these things come to play when you're trying to dissect the matter. So it's really a deep thing. Okay,
so you're saying aside from parental upbringing,
society
and friendship outside
there are a lot of factors.
You said something about the pressure society puts on a child in terms of school.
Yes, I want to go to university.
There are some professional courses that you must go to school to attain that certificate. So people who do not have the money to do that, how do they?
Now, we are living in an evolving generation. And it is important that as we are evolving, that the things around us begin to evolve. The educational system is one of it. So, for example, in the West, I know that there are vocational courses people attend. 2 years, they come out, they graduate, and they are equipped with life skills to be able to dive into the course or their area, exercise their skills and make some money. But in this part, you have to go through a university. Well, there are some other options that are coming up, but I mean, a certification is necessary. So, for example, someone like me, I had been in the in the counseling space for a while, and there were a lot of places a lot of projects I couldn't handle until I got certain certifications, and those certifications are not beans. I mean, one of my certifications cost $500,000 to get. So imagine how many certifications I need to go through to be able to get it. I didn't put pressure on myself because the job I do is a money earning thing. So I was able to start earning money, save up to be able to start getting those certifications. So all I'm trying to say is that there shouldn't be that pressure. I want to be a university graduate. That paradigm needs to start changing, because there are a lot of girls today who are exposed to all manner of things, including drugs, because they are looking for money to go through school. Some of them are in school and they are taking care of their parents. There's a lot wrong with this pattern of approaching education. Education should be for learning, not for status attainance, as it were. You should be getting, equipped educationally because you want to get better at what you love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you talked about pressure and upbringing and a low lot and drug abuse. Let me come to Mr. Martins on drug abuse. How do you think young people can handle drug abuse? Because there have been so many cases. In fact, that's one of the number one, issue Nigeria is currently burdened with right now. How do you think young people can deal with that?
Drug abuse is, when I was much younger, when we hear the word drug abuse, all we knew was cocaine, heroin. It has gone way beyond that. If you hear the things people mix these days, about a few weeks ago, I was hearing somebody was telling me some things people mix in the name of trying to get some kind of, they call it excitement or the popular word high. It comes from sometimes curiosity. I mean, as a teenager, there are things I know I tried to do. I'm not saying I didn't go, drugs was not part of it, thank God. But that curiosity comes up. Then the father of all, peer pressure, the kind of friends. She also mentioned friends. You see, the youths, the teenagers, the youths of today, not just today, it's been there for a while. They try to fit in. They have been told, the parenting has a role to play in it, because many of them have been told, look at your mates.
Exactly.
That statement is so powerful that it has led many people astray. Look at your mates. So what do? They go to their mates, not checking the character, the upbringing of such person. They want to be like that person. And that person introduces them to all they do. The pursuit for money is another thing that takes the young people of today into such things. Because when you try to go after money, there are things especially going the wrong way, there are things you get associated with. You meet wrong people, they take you to wrong places, and when you are with the wrong people at the wrong place, the only thing that is going to happen are wrong things. So you find them coming into companies of people that are going to basically introduce them to all manner of things. And in trying to maybe, let's say, please the same people, so that they don't look like they are Jew men or Jew girls and all that, they get into it. And the first day, I don't want this, I don't want this. The next day, they tell you, if you're not going to take it, don't come here again. And because you know what you are gaining, you go again, and you have to please them by indulging in whatever they are indulging.
So talking about the use of substance and being at the wrong place with the wrong people, the girl in question, the suspect, she was actually under the influence of hard drugs, and also she claimed, according to reports and the confession she made, that the victim actually was trying to violate her for the second time. So do you think these two things, being under the influence and the victim violating her, do you think what she did was justifiable? Or what could she have done? Like, if she allowed him to go ahead, it would have been more like a rape or something. So what do you think she would have done in that situation?
You see, everything you just said now, they are not coming together. He's trying to violate her. Then what is she doing with him in a rented place? What is she doing with him and just two of them? What are they doing there? And she's saying she's trying to violate her. If I want to put a defense, in law, there's this intoxication has a limit as a defense. If I want to go into that angle, you have to also look at other circumstances. Like I just mentioned, what are both of them doing there? If you want to say, okay, well, you would have run out of the place if you feel he wants to do anything to you. You would have called for help. But before you go into that, what are you doing there? What are you doing with that man in that place
like you
at
said,
that time?
greed.
Yes.
They wanted the money and
what are you doing? And then, so whatever the drugs may have done to you that made you to use excessive force to defend yourself, if we are going to agree to what she's saying, you have to always start from the top before you come to, okay, why didn't you run away? What were you even doing there in the first place? I mean, parents will always ask you, why did you come back by this time? They have not asked you, where did you go to? Why did you come back by this time? It's when you answer the why, the next question comes up. So, first of all, what are you doing there? If you are claiming he's trying to violate you, then what is your relationship with him? That you can't say you went there for after extramorals or anything like that. So that's why.
Okay, we are coming back to parenting on your side. You know, the thing is, societal pressure it can be strong at times. Like you said, society influences most of our upbringing. So how do you think good upbringing can suffice?
First of all, I would like to say this. Until a nation are pockets of families that come together to form societies, states, and all whatnot, until support is, the family unit is given the importance that it deserves. Because the nation at large is a reflection of the kinds of families that make up that nation. Okay, so there are a lot of trainings, a lot of talk, but little attention or little support is given to people in the family unit. Broken people, so you see a broken child raised in a broken home who grows up to become a broken adult, is joined to another broken person, because pain is a magnet. Yes. Everyone, has something to say. But truly, if she were to come for counseling, and I'm speaking from over 10 years of experience, that when you speak to that girl, like when we're talking about drug abuse, there are a lot of young people today who are living purposeless life. A life that lacks progression predisposes people to look for anything that gives them any sense of fulfillment. That is why you see a high number of young people going into drugs, because they are looking for something that gives them excitement. They've lost themselves. There is a lot of fallacy being sold on social media. Fancy life that does not require hard work. So you that is working hard in your small corner, you feel stupid because somebody can just go for example, a reality TV show, and in 90 days they come out and they have 100 million, and everyone wants to be there. There's so much influence apart from, social media is not going away. Internet is not going away. Parenting strategies need to change to adopt the new trends. There should be support systems like therapy centers, organizations that help to do counseling for families, to help them, even if they say they don't want to be together anymore, to be able to co-parent effectively, because the resultant effect of broken or dysfunctional children affects the society at large. They are the easy ones for social vices and all whatnot.
The girl in question, she's actually from a broken home.
Okay.
Her parents got separated when she was just 2.
I didn't even get that information. So when you troubleshoot, you'll find out that everybody is looking for validation. And once that primary base, they don't get that validation from there. They are looking for something that fills that void, that sense of emptiness. And you find out that as for the average young person, it's only their age that is growing. Nothing is growing in their life. Values are not being added. They are just, a lot of them are loafing around, not necessarily as a fault of theirs, but that support is not there. So rather than just begin to dissect what Chidinma could have done or couldn't have done, you want to understand, what is the foundation of this girl? What forms the precepts for her decision? Who is she? What is she troubled with? Because a sane person, we're talking about 21. 21.
She's an adult. She's an adult.
We will consider that an adult. Okay, so in the Western world, a 21-year-old is probably reasoning at the same frequency of the average 35-year-old in Nigeria, by virtue of exposure, education, and all whatnot. But a 21-year-old in our system, from my experience, even though old in age, still has some. Yes, so now she's 21, she's in her 3rd year from what I saw on the internet. When did she get into school? Parents are in a hurry. I need to ship her off. I need her to finish at 21. How much value does this child have enough anchor to be able to say no to certain things when you throw her into the university wall. If she's getting into university at 16 or at 17, have you done enough work? If it was a child that spent the better part of her life in a boarding school, you virtually don't know this child. And then you sent that child to the university because you want her to graduate at 21. Who is giving you an award for that?
Exactly.
What is she going to school for?
You mentioned parents talking to their kids. Why do you think most parents, they avoid that conversation of sex education, telling the girl child or the boy child what you face in the real world? They shy away from it. And at the end of the day, these kids go out to learn it and make mistakes.
How many parents as a woman are proud of their youth? First question.
Okay.
That conversation may elicit some emotions that some of them are not ready to confront. Like I said, when people know better, they do better. It's the same parenting style. Like, you know, when you want to get married, they'll tell you, oh, marriage is you close one eye, you open one eye, you know, don't see everything, don't question your husband. And, you know, it's a generational thing. So this was what you saw your mother do. Now you're married and you have a daughter, and it's just a pass down. So there needs to be, if anything is going to change in parenting, the culture needs to start now. We probably begin to see the result of that effort now in the next 30 years, because what we are seeing now is a bridge of values that were not properly passed down. So you see people saying, oh, they don't know the kind of youth we have now. And anytime I hear it, I always say, don't forget the people who raised these young people. They were raised by someone. There was a generation that mentored them, that parented them. What happened to that generation? So before you begin to point fingers on any young person who is struggling, you want to ask, who was the adult that was put in the care of that child? Every child comes like a clean slate, like a plain paper. Whatever you program into that child, that's what that child becomes. So I always tell parents, forget about how your parents raised you. There were calls, there are still calls that are valid now, but the application of those calls need to change. Strategy needs to change. The values may remain the same, but the application has to change to accommodate the trend. Because you're not the only one who is schooling your child in 21st century. Exactly. So there's a lot. I really feel sorry for that Chidinma girl. I feel sorry. And if the justice system knows anything, yes, she may have committed murder, but you want to know what level of brokenness would have brought a child to this level.
But unfortunately, the justice system does not even care about.
We can't even begin to talk about that.
It's so sad. So we are still on parenting because, you know, over the years, we've seen fathers, you know, just providing, just being the breadwinner and neglecting other aspects of being a father. Why do you think fathers do that, and what can be done about that?
I can basically just start from where she stopped, because that is where this question is also pointing at. As a man, from when I was little, I was told the man's duty, duty,
is to
provide for his family.
Yes, exactly.
So, and they'll always take you back to the Bible. A man that can't provide for his family is worse than
an infidel, which is a wrong usage of that scripture.
Exactly.
The misunderstanding.
Now, so what every young man aspires to do, like my friend told me, that I won't get married until I have a good job, I that, so I can provide for my family. I told him, if you are going to wait till you have a good job, maybe it's my daughter that you are going to marry eventually. What I'm trying to say is this. It's been there for a long time. All the man has to do is to provide for the family. And it is so wrong. If you look at the statistics of broken homes, of fatherless children. Now, fatherless in this case, I'm not talking of those that the father died. Those that the fathers left.
Yes.
If you look at the statistics, you see that there are the greater percentage of thieves, kidnappers, robbers. You find out that the mother has to basically do everything.
And she can't do everything.
And I'm speaking from a first person point of view now. The mother has to do the father and the mother's job. And God made it in a way that each person has their job. No matter how much the mother tries to father you, she can never father you the way the father will father. I hope you understand how I'm trying to explain.
Yeah.
The father is meant to be the role model. When you see children looking at celebrities on Instagram and other social media platforms and copying their lifestyle, funny thing is that even most of the celebrities, their lifestyle is not even worth copying anyway. All that you need to listen to is their music or watch their movies. Live the private life because you will basically not learn anything from them. When you see these children now make these so-called celebrities their mental idols, they go into the brokenness of their soul and they break it further because they are now learning more things that is not even going to help them. I mean, we have heard millions of stories of celebrities that got into drugs, that committed suicide, and then these are the people that the children, the younger ones, are patterning their lives after. I'm looking at this person. They are dressing, their manner. You can talk to someone today and see the person trying to talk like Beyonce. So what I'm trying to say is that the role of a father, oh Lord, the providing part is, to me, it's not even on the top 5 list. The father should be the mentor. The father should sit the children down and talk to them. Tell them how life is. And like I always tell people, it's not only in the talking. Because you can tell a child, sit down there, and you stand up and walk out. What does the little baby do? The baby will follow you. But if you say sit down and you sit down, the child will most likely sit down. Because the child is watching. A child watches more than they listen. They will look at what you do more than they doing what you say.
They replicate who you are more than what you tell them to become.
They really replicate.
So, it is very important for fathers to know their place. That putting food on the table is not the ultimate. There are men that you see, they'll tell you, after I provide all your needs, so what else do you want me to do? Oga, there are many things you have to do. These children need to hear from you. You need to tell them some of your bit. You see, every father took first in school. It's a pity. I mean, every father took first. So the child doesn't want to take last. My father took first. Then you want me even third position. They don't even need it. So you see, the pressure started from primary school. Because the father will tell you, in short, I nearly took second, but I still took first. And the child wants to be like you. Not knowing that even 10th position, you never got close to it.
You know, that's this thing you're saying now is very pivotal because a lot of children are not able to relate with their parents as humans. As humans, their parents generally. No, the reason because they see their parents as perfect.
Yes.
Never done wrong. No. So when they encounter struggles as young people that their parents also encountered. Remember I asked you how many parents are proud of their youth? How many of them are willing to be vulnerable with their children to say, I made this mistake when I was so and so age. So I'm talking to you now from an experienced place that the decision I made, these were the consequences. How many parents are willing to be that vulnerable? No parents want to let their child know that I've lost money in business, or I made a mistake, or I lost my virginity before I met your father. I mean, no, but you can't even think about it. You know, so he was saying something about providing. Providing is important, but there are other elements, just like he said. You know, there's the protection, there's the direction, there's the discipline. But there's something in our generation that is displacing men. The woman you want to provide for is taking herself to Dubai.
Exactly.
She's buying things for herself. She's probably earning more than you. And you have been taught all your life that what you're supposed to do is to provide. Now you're in a relationship with this kind of a girl and you feel displaced because you don't feel like there's anything that you're bringing to the table that will be needed. So it's a lot. I mean, but that's a topic for another day.
Okay, before we round up, let's just use 2 minutes to talk about the a lot on why fathers shy away from training. Why?
I don't think...
What can we do, to change this? Because I think it's the basis. It's
2 minutes will not do it. But I'm just going to give you some tips. First of all, gender equality needs to be taught properly. Gender equality is not the same thing. In fact, what they are calling gender equality is not supposed to be gender equality. It's actually supposed to be gender equity. Because equity means you are at the top. Let me give you my hand so that you can help me get to your level. But equality means let us be fighting each other. Anything you can do, I can do it. But that makes absolutely no sense. Now, so you see, first of all, and that gender is being driven. There's a lot of, there are more opportunities for women now. Is that a bad thing? No, that's not a bad thing. But there needs to be balance. Because I keep saying it, a few years from now, men will begin to also fight for equality because they would have been displaced. Men are being displaced from their jobs, from their homes, from their places as husbands because of the feminism movement. The third wave feminism, which is, for me, a summation of, I mean, with all due respect to people who are truly fighting what feminism, you know, people who started it, what it stood for, but this bunch of bitter congregation of women who their agenda is to, and the funny thing is that what they portray on social media is completely different from their real life. I mean, there was somebody on Twitter once upon a time that was a feminist, teaching the girls all whatnot, but her husband was her partner, and she was actually a different name. I mean, there's a whole lot of fakeness going out there. So I would encourage men to, first of all, understand that you want to develop yourself. You want to be able to bring in more value. Women are wired to respond to leadership. Okay, so if all you know how to do is to provide, it will be difficult for you to be able to keep a woman who provides for herself. You want to be able to develop yourself beyond being able to make money, because everybody is making money now, man or woman. You want to be able to develop yourself to be able to make sound judgment, because when a woman can trust the quality of your decision, she would, whether you are making 300,000, she would, something in her is propelled to respond in a respective way to you, okay, that elicits honor. You know, she looks at you with admiration. Don't come with all your emptiness and you want to be able to submit to me, submit. It's not working. It's not working no more. So you're not trying to become, subjugate her. Yes. It's supposed to, her submissive should be a response to something that she admires in you. Okay? And women also need to be able to test the quality of their decision. So you can't marry a man and say, you're a foolish man. That man is a reflection of your decision. Exactly. So if you call him foolish, it means that the quality of your decision
in a nutshell,
is foolish.
Actually, the relationship between the two parents affects the upbringing of the child.
Very important.
Okay,
very
so
very
we've said a whole lot. I think we should have part 2 of this topic, and we've said a whole lot today. But until then, thank you guys for staying with us. Please do well to like and subscribe to all our social media handles at Eastern Report TV. I'm still your host, Tracy Dominic. Thank you.